Are you gonna ask me questions?
Hey, what's up, guys? Foster here. Just a quick note before we get started today. This week, we are having conversations with another English teacher, Christina Lorimer. Christina is simply one of the smartest, most interesting, and thoughtful teachers that I have met in a long, long time. And I think you will really enjoy these conversations as much as I did. So, after a quick word from our sponsors, we will get on with the show.
Hey, hey, everyone! Bom, estou aqui para falar sobre o nosso querido Cambly. Para quem está começando hoje esse podcast, bem-vindo, e nós temos uma novidade para você. Você que sempre procurou uma plataforma online de inglês para ter aquela conversa muito legal com algum falante nativo de inglês, chegou a sua hora. O Cambly é uma plataforma de inglês online maravilhosa. Você vai lá no cambly.com ou no aplicativo do Cambly e você pode filtrar de acordo com as suas necessidades. Então, digamos que você está procurando alguém para te ensinar mais gramática ou ter alguma melhora no vocabulário sobre botânica. Qualquer coisa desse gênero e super específica, o Cambly pode te dar. Uma das coisas mais legais é que tem professor quase 24 horas por dia. Então, se você precisa se preparar, por exemplo, para uma reunião, para uma apresentação ou coisa parecida e quer treinar naquele dia, um pouco antes ou um dia antes, você entra na plataforma, escolhe um professor e começa a falar. Lembrando que não adianta saber inglês se você não consegue falar. O Cambly tá aí para isso. Então, para você ganhar uma aula de inglês de graça com o Cambly, é só colocar o nosso cupom Inglês no Icru Podcast. Mais uma vez, Inglês no Icru Podcast. Vai lá no cambly.com ou no aplicativo do Cambly e coloca nosso cupom Inglês no Icru Podcast. Now, on with the show.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Foster from Inglês no Cru. Today, we have a very special guest, Christina from Christina. Please tell me I'm not pronouncing this wrong. Lorimer?
Yeah, yeah, it's
ChristinaLorimer.com.
good.
Christina is an English teacher with a very fascinating background and just a lovely person in general. Christina, welcome to the show.
Oi, how's it going?
It is going great. Thank you. By the way, Christina speaks perfect Portuguese.
I don't know about perfect.
She speaks very, very well. Very well. So, Christina,
Yeah.
most Americans or foreigners that end up in Brazil have some sort of like origin story. Like, how did you get started? I know you're very heavily involved in Brazil, in teaching, Brazilian culture,
Yeah.
Brazilian romantic relationships. Where did it all begin?
Multiple.
Just one now, but
Yeah, I love that, an origin story. It's so true. Okay, so my origin story in Brazil actually had nothing to do with teaching or teaching English, although at the time I was also an English teacher, but it had everything to do with music and dance.
wow.
So I danced my whole life.
Really?
Yeah, I grew up just a dancer, typical American stuff of jazz, tap, and ballet.
Oh, no way. I didn't know this.
Yeah,
Alexia's the
yes.
dancer.
Really? This is why we have to meet. It's going to be another kindred connection. I'm just totally sure of it.
For sure.
And when I went to college, when I went to do my undergrad, I kept dancing, but I had a lot of freedom. So I did college close to LA, which one of the reasons why I went to Cal State Long Beach was to be close to LA to keep dancing.
Hmm.
But I was, very empowered to sort of like try branch out. I was mostly a tapper. I
Yeah.
wanted to be in Stomp. That was my life goal at that time. Do you know Stomp?
Yeah, I wanted to ask a very ignorant question. Is the only difference between tapping and stomping that with stomping you don't have the actual tap shoes?
I don't know the answer to that question because I don't actually know if stomping is a thing, although it might be. But I was talking about Stomp, the dance company.
Ah, oh, okay. Well, I
Yeah.
was assuming that the thing I didn't realize it was like a branded thing.
Yeah, so Stomp is a group, but I think it is representative of a kind of tap, which is typically rhythmic and acoustic. So I'm not like a Frank Sinatra tapper, with like a hat and a cane. Although I do have a video of me when I was 9.
We'll put that in the show notes.
Yes, totally. Link to that. Link to Christina with glasses and braces and a top hat, please. Put that on the internet somewhere. No, so the kind of tap that I did was usually with no music or with live music and with a small group of people and just totally rhythmic because I knew music. So you can't really be that kind of tapper if you can't if you don't or if you aren't familiar with music and how music works and counting. And I also grew up playing piano for 10 to 15 years, and my mom was a choir director, so I was, like, very immersed in this world.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
Do you still play piano?
Not really. This is it's interesting when you move away from home, and I moved away when I was 17, which is common in the United States. But, you sort of move away from some people, me in particular, this whole insular life that you knew. So I didn't really have transferable musical skills, and that I didn't play the guitar. I can't
Mhm.
bring a baby grand with me wherever I go. So sure, on campus there were, I could have rented a piano or whatever it is, but I basically stopped playing piano when I moved away from home.
Yeah, same.
And, do you play piano as well?
Um, yes, definitely not as well as you, but my mom is a pianist. My grandmother was also a choir director and an organist, so grew up in the same tradition. Yeah.
Totally. And something similar happened with dance. You move away from your studio. I was with the same studio my entire life, and we were a family, and that was my second home. But again, so I was lucky to be close to LA, and I had a master teacher at the campus where I went to college, and I continued to study tap with him for 4 years. The second year, he went to Brazil. He came back with all of these crazy new moves, and he
Yeah.
started combining samba with tap, and it blew my mind. So we were listening to this music I had never heard before, and we were doing these moves that I had never done before. It was really, really cool. And I started, I think it was my last year in college. I also took this, it's called like World and Dance. I don't know, World and Dance and Music or something.
The kind of class you would definitely sign up for.
Exactly. You like said like 3 amazing words: world, dance, music. Just like
Yeah. Yeah.
blindly, I will show up. And the semester was split into 2. It was basically African music, rhythms, and dance for the first half, and then Brazilian. So, anyway, by the end of college, I was really interested in Brazilian culture, albeit a very narrow view of Brazilian culture because I was sort of really just listening to things from the North and Northeast.
Yeah.
And life continued. I sort of forgot about Brazil because I went and I lived in Costa Rica for a year and a half. I came back to the United States. I did my master's.
What'd you get your master's in? Just out of curiosity?
I got my master's in TESOL, which is teaching English to speakers of
Awesome.
other languages.
Cool. Very qualified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a really cool program. It's the oldest TESOL program in the nation in San Francisco State University. It's 3 years. So the first year is you're with the linguistic students. The
Mhm.
second year is focused on pedagogy. And then the third year, should you choose to, you specialize. So I got a certificate in immigrant literacies because I thought I was going to work in nonprofits my whole life with immigrants and refugees.
Right.
Yeah. So Brazil came back into my life, and just to circle back to this origin story, because after the second year, I was totally burnt out and I was not going to finish my master's. And I don't know, I was uncomfortable with everything. Like I was uncomfortable with academia. I didn't get it. It felt really made up to me. I was researching a ton and I'm not, my whole family is, but I, in my undergrad, wasn't an academic. I was a dancer. And I first majored in drawing and painting before Spanish. And so when I started my master's, I really like became very academic, which didn't really suit my personality, but I got carried away and I was working 3 jobs and I was totally burnt out. And I
Yeah.
remember
Can I interject just very quickly?
always,
I think burnt out, that's a great phrasal verb that I don't think many Brazilians, at least our students, don't understand.
yeah,
You're exhausted, right? Too much stuff going
yeah,
on, and you did not want any more of it.
yeah. I think it's
Okay.
an adjective.
Yeah, you could
Yeah,
be too burnout, but in the way you're using, yeah.
yeah. I think if as a phrasal verb, it's a candle, which is symbolic. Are you burning? Can you burn someone out? Now I'm actually really interested. I'm burning out.
I'm
I
getting
guess
burned
it,
out to
yeah,
get
I
burned
guess,
out.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but you would normally use it in the past as an adjective, yeah.
yeah.
Huh.
Anyway, really good word.
2 English teachers
Really
getting
good
rid of
word.
you.
Very applicable to my master's.
Yeah.
So I was in San Francisco and I was coming back from this awards ceremony where I won this thing and they gave, it was like one of those certificates on a piece of paper. And I was just like, this isn't real. What is my life? It was like
Yeah.
nice to have an award, but it didn't mean much to me. And I remember just being really uncomfortable. And I was in this like itchy sweater and I biked all the way home and I was really, hot. And I remember I put flip flops on, biked down to the beach. It was freezing because it's San Francisco, biked back, fell down on the grass and called my mom. And I was like, Mom, I'm not going to finish my master's. Cool. She was like, no. And so I just, I was telling her how I was feeling. And she just said, Chris, like, you haven't traveled in 2 or 3 years. You just need to go travel and then come back and you'll be
Oh,
fine.
man. I wish my mom was like that.
Yeah. And I was like, you're right. I haven't been out of the country in 2 years. Um, and she was like, and I had all this money saved up because I was working a ton. She was like, quit your jobs. Where are you going to go? And I was like, I'm going to go to Brazil.
Wow.
And so this is 2010. And it was the first time I went to Brazil. It was the first time that I traveled completely by myself, not with a volunteer program, not with a study abroad program, not with my sister, not with a friend. I was completely by myself.
First solo. Awesome.
And I went to Salvador da Bahia
Mhm.
because that's all I thought Brazil was. I was like, this is Brazil. And I went there for 2 months and I was like, hashtag gringa life. I was like taking capoeira classes.
Hey guys, thanks so much for listening to another episode of Inglês no Rádio. If you like what we do, if you want to support the show, here's what you can do. Leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Android, wherever you listen to the podcast. It really helps other people discover the show. And you can sign up for our VIP newsletter. So each time we release new courses, early discounts for Sound School, new worksheets, special discounts, the people on our newsletter are the first to know. So if you are interested in the things we are doing, go to inglesnucru.com and sign up. And as always, keep up the good fight and lose well. Até já.